The pieces to your puzzle.
Hello, I am Ronald Bell. Before we begin, this is my third long-form video, and as you can tell, these videos take a long time to make. So if you could show your support by subscribing and sharing this video, I would really appreciate that. Finally, this video will be the first installment in a new series I'm calling Ron's Book Reviews. And without further ado, here it is.
Introduction!
Understanding the Whole. A recent study done over at Qualtrics.com showcases that, on average, only 51% of students feel like they belong at their school. The feeling of belonging, the feeling of knowing that you're in the right place, is so rare that only half of teens have discovered it. This feeling is scarce, but it shouldn't be. It should be a delicacy that every teen gets to indulge in. The book Find Your Crew in 30 Days by Miles J. Carter is essentially a guide, teaching its readers on how to figure out who they are and how to align themselves with the right people. This video is essentially a retelling of what I have learned from the book from my own perspective. If you want to find your crew, then you're going to need to understand the two facets of being human, the facets being your inner and outer identity. Once you figure out these two halves, you'll be presented with the whole, allowing you to do what was once imperceivable. Your inner identity. Who are you on the inside? When it comes to teens, wanting to fit in is our thing, and a lot of the time, we sacrifice our true selves for a fake persona. A persona that's what we think is what others want. This also usually leads to us blending in, becoming a background character that no one remembers. Doing this means giving yourself a mask that reflects someone different from ourselves. You may not even notice when you're putting it on. In some groups, you may act differently, which is okay. We all adjust ourselves around different people. The issue arises when you start to change your core self. Adjusting your volume or your conversation topics around others is completely okay. But modifying your vibe, changing what makes you you, is when the real problem begins. In order to take your mask off, we must consistently recognize when we're putting it on and make the conscious decision to take it back off. We must intentionally remember who we are. A part of being you is knowing what you can and can't handle. Knowing what does and doesn't offend you. If someone says something that makes you uncomfortable, then bring attention to it and form a boundary. Don't be the doormat everyone stops on before entering the house. Be the person comfortable entering their own home. Eventually, you'll become known for knowing who you are, and you might gain some fame. Once you gain fame, it's easy to start overthinking every action, every word you say. You don't even have to have fame to overthink your actions. Overthinking is caused by the desire to manage impressions, the want to control how others see you, or it can just be caused by nervousness. Whatever the case, overthinking is not the move. If you want to control your pawn, then running down the clock will only cause you to run down the clock even more. And then you'll just start to feel and look like you don't even know how to play the game. What I'm getting at here is that overthinking leads to more overthinking. Our brains are naturally wired to overthink. They are made to figure out what's going wrong. Like if we said hi in a weird way, for example. Because of this natural instinct, it can be difficult to stop overthinking. In order to stop doing this, you need to recognize when you are doing it and make the decision to stop doing it. Over time, if you pay attention, you'll start to notice more and more when you start to overthink. And if you notice, you can tell yourself that it'll all be okay. If you be yourself, you'll have nothing to worry about. Ending overthinking is a big part of rebuilding your social confidence. Have you ever seen someone and wondered how they were born with so much confidence? That's not how confidence works. Confidence is acquired by putting in the work. It's acquired by knowing who you are. It's acquired by putting trust in yourself. And it's acquired by slowly building it from the ground up. Slowly and intentionally growing into who you are. Whether that means sticking up for yourself when offended, or finding yourself some like-minded friends. What social confidence isn't is walking into every room with the most energy possible. One thing that can really help your confidence is not comparing yourself to other people. You should only compare yourself against your own potential. Just like how our brains are naturally wired to overthink, they are naturally wired to compare. One way to stop comparing is to recognize when you're doing it, and remember that you only need to focus on what you're doing. Constantly worrying about others leads to you forgetting about your own strengths. Our brains are always taking in information, especially on social media. When we are constantly exposing ourselves to everyone's fake world of perception, our brains are taking in information. The problem here is that these fake worlds are just that, fake. Think about it. When you post online, what do you show the world? Your ups or your downs? When people post online, they are purposefully showing what they want you to see, and they don't want you to see their downs. So when you compare yourself to these constant ups, you start to feel less than, like you're just not good enough. Comparing will always cause you to want more. In order to stop comparing, you should carefully curate what you see online. Go through all the people you normally watch and ask yourself, does this person leave me feeling less than or better? Once you clean out your algorithm, you'll start to feel a lot better, a lot cleaner, and a lot more confident. Something that can really hold you back from figuring out that hole is labels. Have you ever been unfairly judged before you even got the chance to express yourself? When we are little, people don't think twice about calling us hyperactive, shy, or other limiting labels. But these labels stick with us for an extremely long time, all the way up until we sit down and deal with it. These labels indent our minds with the idea that we're just this one thing, this one prejudgment that holds us back from stepping outside of our comfort zone. And when we don't step outside of our comfort zone, we hold ourselves back from reaching our true potential. If you start to notice you labeling yourself, then you're going to want to stop. In order to put an end to these labels, you're going to need to figure out who you want to be. Do you want to be more confident? Do you want to be more social? Once you have a concrete vision of who you want to be, you can start taking the steps to get there. If you want to start sticking up for yourself more, then you can start by winning the small victories, correcting someone when they mispronounce your name, setting boundaries when you feel uncomfortable, and speaking to someone new. Over time, you'll start to naturally do these things, and then they'll become a part of who you are. And now that you know who you are on the inside, you should know that your inner feelings reflect in your body language. When you enter a room, people immediately get a prejudgment of you. I know it sounds unfair, and it is, but your body language is the first thing people see when you walk into a room. And because your feelings on the inside reflect on the outside, you really have to be conscious about how you present yourself. And people with a strong presence present themselves in a very intentional way. The reason why some people seem to be so calm and reassuring is because they know who they are. And they know how to show it. They don't fidget with their hands, they don't weave and out between people, and they know how to show eye contact. They speak with intention, and take a small pause before each response to show that they really are thinking about the conversation. If you want to be more confident like them, then be comfortable with small pauses in the conversation. Your body is telling a story. What kind of story do you want it to tell? Who you are with other people. When it comes to conversations, we all struggle sometimes. Whether you're trying to break the awkward silence in a room or you're trying to connect with somebody. Reading people can also tend to be difficult with how much we humans overthink. As we've talked about before, you can usually tell how someone's feeling based on their body language. There's two types of body language, open and closed. Open body language is characterized by feet pointing forward, hands visible and not fidgeting, and eye contact. Closed body language pretty much involves the opposite. Feet facing away, hands fidgeting, and no eye contact. When noticing these signals, it is important to observe and not interpret. Instead of wondering if you did something wrong, acknowledge the other person's vibe. It's not about ignoring or downplaying, it's about taking note of how the other person feels. And when you notice their vibe, you can move yours to match theirs. And when I say that, I don't mean change who you are, or start acting differently. I just mean adjust to a matching tempo, so you can both make a good sound. Then you can start the conversation, but conversations can be hard. Luckily for you, they can be broken down into nice and easy parts. First up is the opener. A lot of people tend to struggle with this part because they overthink every possibility of everything they say. They get stuck in their head, never even starting the conversation. But it's actually really easy. All you have to do is find something that's relevant to both of you, allowing you to make an easy, direct connection. You don't have to impress them or say something clever. The second part of every conversation is the bridge. This may be the easiest part. All you have to do is let the conversation naturally flow. Once again, just make sure to be comfortable with natural pauses in the conversation. You don't always have to fill the empty space. Lastly is the end of the conversation. This part is just as easy as the rest, if not easier. All you have to do is acknowledge the conversation, signal the transition, and leave the door open. Here is an example. This conversation was a lot of fun. I'm gonna go get some Chick-fil-A. I would love to talk again sometime. Have you ever heard the myth that small talk is pointless? Some people think that it's just a meaningless and boring space filler. Small talk is supposed to be used when you're trying to test the waters of the conversation. You can use small talk to test the vibe of the other person, or you can use it to forage for a conversation topic that connects you with the other person. Small talk is not the bridge in the conversation. It is also not the goal. It's the beginning of something more meaningful. The best way to start with small talk is to try and learn something about the other person. Ask questions that invite honesty, and don't put pressure on anyone to come up with a clever response. People love to talk about what they're passionate about, which is great to know for starting deeper conversations. These types of questions can help you better understand the other person. Hey man, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? Well, I would probably... If you never had to worry about money ever again, what job would you do and why? But asking questions isn't nearly as important as listening. When we are listened to, we feel understood, and feeling understood is one of the best feelings ever. Some of us think we're good listeners, but we're really just waiting for our turn to speak. People usually notice this, and they start to avoid you because of it. Good listeners listen because they want to, not because they expect something in return. They encourage others to express themselves. Surface level listening involves a lot of yeahs and a lot of ahas. This isn't even actual listening. If you want to level up your listening, then you should start by trying to actually understand what the other person is saying. Then you should take in that information and come up with a response worthy of hearing. Think about what you say before you say it. The final level of listening is all about emotion. Don't just listen to the words. Take the time to understand the deeper meaning behind them. People don't always mean what they say. And once you figure out the deeper meaning to their words, you can make a true connection. The next step is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries can be difficult because a lot of the time we don't want to be rude. Or factors like peer pressure and social conformity can cause us to mold our boundaries into something we think others will like. But setting boundaries is way too important to just give up. We need boundaries for so many different things, like respect, energy, and time. When it comes to respect, boundaries are pretty much required. We need to establish what we will and won't tolerate. We need to stand 10 toes down. Don't over-apologize. Be confident in who you are and how you want to be treated. If someone says something to you that makes you uncomfortable, then set a boundary and bring attention to it. Without boundaries, real friendships will never be able to exist. Without them, we would be consistently overcommitting ourselves to things we just don't want to do. The biggest things boundaries can help with is keeping everyone comfortable. Because when we are comfortable, we can truly connect. When people notice you being completely authentic, they are drawn to you. This phenomenon is called social gravity, and if you want to build up your social status, you're going to need it. One reason why being yourself is the best way to live is because it's the easiest way to live. Trying to be someone you're not can't work long term and is extremely exhausting. Also, people notice when you're being fake and stay away from you because of it, which is the opposite of what you want. You are your best you when you're acting like yourself. As you may have noticed, leaders tend to have a lot of social gravity. Leaders know when to listen, and they guide the vibe of the room without being too controlling. When they are calm, others are calm as well. Leaders don't focus on how they're seen either. This is because everyone sees everyone in different ways. One person may see you as the handsome big brother, while the next may see you as the funny friend. The final step on this journey of internal and external discovery is learning to handle being ghosted, rejection, and being left out. Here's the deal. Being ghosted is not at all a reflection on your character, but more so a reflection on the other person. If someone ghosts you, they're showcasing their lack of an ability to articulate their feelings. Instead of taking rejection as a personal attack, take it as an opportunity to grow. Don't put yourself down just because someone didn't like you, but also don't downplay your feelings. Maturity is key here, so remember to look at the situation from a calm and well-informed perspective. Being left out can also hurt a lot, but all it means is that those people weren't the ones for you. The hard part is accepting the fact that those just weren't your people. A great way to move on is to find the people who align with your interests. There are many different ways to do that, and once you do, you'll truly feel comfortable.
Conclusion.
The final formula. For my conclusion, I will leave you with this. Out of all the advice I have laid upon you, the most important piece is consistency. Consistency, consistency, consistency. As long as you practice the formula, you'll get closer and closer to the solution. And then you'll finally get to taste the whole pie. Thank you for watching.